Okay, Kerry, back to you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so if any of the other areas on that slide are of interest, do pick it up with us after the call. But as I said, just going to concentrate on 3 of the main ones today. So our student innovation projects. Now, these are short-term opportunities to work with a mix of our students who act for you as consultants, and they work on a real-life business challenge, which is put forward by the business. They work in interdisciplinary teams. These challenges get advertised to the student groups and they get to choose what project they're most interested in to apply for. And our careers and employability team will then work with you to help advertise that and bring a student group together. So you could have students working on a mix of disciplines. We've seen in the past that a project has brought together geographers, engineers, statisticians, even business students. So it could be a real mix, but we also have a real mix in the age groups. So they can be across year groups when they apply to join projects. They're really great for our students, as well as overcoming a business challenge, hopefully, by them working on it for you. But they get to build real commercial skills. It takes them out of their kind of academic day-to-day realm and their education realm. So they look at building relationships. They have to give a presentation to you at the end of the project. So presentation skills, market research, creative thinking, and there's the teamwork, because they won't be working with other students that they're necessarily used to from their course. So it's a real challenge and an opportunity for them as well. As I said, the employer provides the project brief, and what's expected then from a business side is that you'll have an initial meeting with that student team, tell them a bit about, explain the brief that got advertised, tell them a bit about your business, but then just be there in the background. These projects last about 4 weeks in total, so just be there in the background to answer any email inquiries until you get to the end of the project, at which point there is the commitment to attend that presentation. It can be in person, it can be online, but the student team will present to you and they will hand over a final report, which actually we find businesses then sometimes take forward. Might even lead to one of those students taking on an internship with you because there was a particular spark and a particular part of that report that you wanted to get more out of. I should say that these are run at no cost to the business partner. So there is that commitment of coming in and meeting them, but apart from that, there'll be no cost to you. It provides a real approach to gain different insights and solutions from a multiple perspectives. It's a fast turnaround. So like I said, this is a 4-week project and they'll submit their conclusions to you. And it's a great way to scout our student talent for recruitment purposes and a way for you to start with minimal commitment in work experience or with our students. I mentioned internships. So that was the next one I wanted to cover. So we have a number of opportunities to support businesses in working with our students and actually with our graduates. So it can be up to 12 months following graduation that they can take an internship with a business. Now, I know that the careers team currently have some funding to help support SMEs and different types of businesses to take on Southampton students. Has to be a Southampton student, not another university. There are different criteria available to access that funding. So if an internship was something that you're interested in, I would definitely say contact the employer at southampton.ac.uk, the employability team, and they would be able to talk you through the process. Similarly to the student innovation projects, the team will work with you to advertise the placement. We run it on a system internally, and they will also help you in interviewing and recruiting the right candidates. Now, our internships can be done in term time if they're part-time, but most are done in vacation time. And we do ask that, actually might just go back, that there is a commitment to pay the minimum wage, but as I said, we have pots of funding that then will be able to support different businesses in being able to fund those students to work with them. So that was the benefits to business. I probably covered most of those actually. So yes, all the dedicated support from our team. They help with the recruitment process, so that's all streamlined. It's dedicated time to a specific problem again, and once again you'll be meeting enthusiastic and talented students. You can apply for more than one internship at a time, and again it's up to the students then to apply as it would be through a normal recruitment process. Lastly, just going to quickly cover year in employment. Now, this is what was probably sometimes referred to as a sandwich year when I was a student anyway, or a year in industry. Student is employed by an organisation for a minimum of 10 months, and that's between their second and third year at university. This opens up the opportunity for all our students to be able to have a work placement, have that year in employment, not just the degrees that already have that built into them. So if businesses want to work on a longer term project with a student, this is a great opportunity to do it. Again, it's scouting for future potential and creating a talent pipeline. It's a flexible recruitment solution, and all the way through on all these opportunities, we have a great team behind us that will be dedicated to supporting you in working with our students. I've got any questions. I don't know whether you'd like to take questions now or whether hear from Heidi and then we'll take them at the end.
I just comment. I mean, it's a really useful sounding set of services there. You know, whether it's the year, whether it's the internship, whether it's the projects. I just wish we could get these out to more New Forest businesses to be aware of what the opportunity is virtually on their doorstep.
So I'm sure that I will be able to get some tailored slides out to you if you wanted to. Obviously, there is the recording, but we can share the slides that outlines at least the 3 opportunities I've highlighted there as some marketing materials, if that's useful.
No, that's great. Thanks, Gary. Any other questions or any comments from Laura or Vivara? No, okay, let's.
I'm happy to wait till we've gone through. I'm making a note of some, so.
Great. Okay, let's hear from Heidi then.
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. Can everyone see that?
Yeah, we can, thanks.
Perfect. Okay, I will get hold of technology one day, I promise. So just to introduce myself, like I said, I'm an impact funding officer, and we look after, our team looks after what's called impact acceleration accounts. So impact is defined as, it comes from research that can be defined as an effect on change or benefit to the economy, society, culture, public policy, services, health, the environment, quality of life, and beyond academia. So as a university, we receive funds from UKRI, who this is the UK Research Innovation Council. It's public funds that we receive through different funding streams. And as you see, we've got at the bottom of the slide, the 4 that we work with are EPSRC, Arts and Humanities, Science and Technology, and Economic and Social Research Council. As I mentioned, we have a team, so there are 5 of us within the team. Each of us look after 1 or 2 of the funding streams, but we all work together. All of the impact acceleration accounts are cross-disciplinary, so we all work in collaboration together. So impact acceleration accounts, so they are there to strengthen engagement with users, primarily non-academic partners. We encourage that all of our projects that are funded through the impact acceleration accounts have a collaboration partner with somebody who is outside the university. And like I said, that can be from any range of business, from micro, SME, up to industrial partners. We support and develop and foster strategic partnerships for knowledge exchange and impact across all of the disciplines and sectors. So that can be from anything from aerospace down to fashion and the glam, museums, any arts and culture. So it's literally across the board. The impact acceleration accounts are there to provide early stage support for progressing research outputs. So the academics have already completed the research of a concept, of an idea, and now they're ready to take it towards the next stage. And that would be collaborating with a business to be able to test their idea. It's a road test program. It can also mean clinical trials, etc. So obviously examples of ways of progressing the research is either through commercialization, it could be market validation, activities targeting policy, business, and also the third sectors. The IAs are there to drive continuous improvement in impact. We support all the innovation and capturing learning through appropriate mechanisms. But I think the most important thing about the impact acceleration accounts is that they are flexible and they're adaptive. So it's a responsive way of funding to allow an academic who has got that idea to give them the ability to build a relationship with a company, or to be able to move everything to the next stage. As I said, we have 4 funding streams that we do look after. I won't go through them in depth. The first one is EPSRC, which is our Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council. So this covers, this research council covers anything within the engineering realms, from aerospace through to physical sciences such as chemistry. ESRC is the Economics and Social Research Council. So they are very place kind of driven. They have themes such as supporting a greener world, health and well-being, connecting communities, societies, productive economies, governance, and they also do a lot of policy making as well. Arts and Humanities is a new one. So Arts and Humanities looks at the GLAM network. So the galleries, libraries, arts and museums, but again, it covers all different disciplines. So anything from archaeology to law, to fashion, design, computer, all within those realms. And the last one is science and technology. So again, very similar to engineering and physical sciences, but this one is more for physics and astronomy and in that area. So what do we, how can the funds be used? So the main activities that we do support with the impact acceleration accounts are relationship development projects. So these are concept development projects, early stage projects. A big one for us is impact secondments and placements, and also support for researchers. The ones that are important to this forum would be the relationship developments. Well, all of them are important, but the ones that we particularly would look at more closely is relationship development, secondments and placements, and support for researchers as well. So with the relationship development, we can use the funds for showcasing and network events, sandpit ideas. So this is where we can invite businesses in who are within a particular area to come and see what our academics are doing and to see whether there's a relationship that can be built up from there. Impact secondments, so it's secondments and placements are very useful for knowledge exchange between our academics and between businesses. We offer not just the opportunity for academics to be placed within business, but for business to be able to come and work with the university and to come and have an inward secondment to us. And this is where you have the opportunity to, if you have an idea that you want to work with or learn some new technology, new software, then you can come in and work with our teams within faculty or within research groups. We also offer other relationship development opportunities. We have stakeholder events and obviously training opportunities as well. So we've, as I said, place is very much on our agenda for the impact acceleration accounts, and this is to emphasise our civic commitment by positively impacting society by connecting communities, social and economical inclusion, regeneration and culture. We've supported quite a few regeneration projects since COVID, with help with the COVID regeneration, and also part of the levelling up process policy. So we've previously had funded collaboration projects with schools, small businesses, city councils, local authorities, charities and universities. So there's not that within the civic environment. But like we have projects with many other businesses as well, but they are just a few of the chosen ones. So what we can offer is we can offer our expertise and the opportunity for businesses to be able to draw on the specialist expertise of the university, and the IAA funds will allow for the opportunity to buy their time out, essentially, so that they can work with you either on a consultancy level or as a collaboration piece of work. We can offer the sandpit and network events, where we can also offer bring in our businesses from our networks to introduce you to academics and to other businesses. We offer funding for small concept projects and also secondments, as mentioned, inwards and outwards. But we're always happy to talk to anyone who has an idea. And like with Kerry and Justin, if you'd like to come to us and you have an idea, we can also help with matching an academic to what your needs are as well, and start the conversation from there. Thank you.
Great, thanks very much, because that's an area of your work that I was previously pretty much unaware of. So that's a good bit of overview that you've given there.
Yeah, we're often in the background.
Okay, Justin, have you got the presentation to complete the set then?
Did that on purpose to make Hardy feel better. No, I was here really just as a just to come along and kind of be part of the meeting from a sort of observation point of view. Really, I guess that the Kerry and I work closely together, so one of us would have done that, and then Kerry finally volunteered today on that side of things. So that's my capacity here. But obviously, if any questions come my way, I'll do my best to answer them. Okay,
great, thanks very much. So Laura, you building up to a question, I think you said.
Yeah, I mean, I guess really the big to start with is whether any of that would apply, because I'm obviously not a limited company. I'm, a sole trader. Does that make a difference if you were going to look at an internship or any of the three you mentioned, Kerry? And also the fact that I don't have an office space or anything, so if I did work with anyone, it would have to be remotely.
So I'm going to say it won't make a difference, but I will take that away to double check with the employability team. I know for sure that the remote working, a lot has changed, a lot of hybrid working and remote working now. So and our processes and our working with our students has changed in line with that. So the student innovation projects, the short-term 4-week turnaround, I'm confident can be delivered remotely and don't need an office, because actually you have that initial engagement with them, and then they go away for the 4 weeks and work on the project for you and come back with that report. I think the internships would probably be able to be carried out remotely, but the year in employment, that one I would need to check.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
It's a great question, because it's one that's relevant to a lot of small businesses around the New Forest and of course every part of the country. And it was relevant before lockdown, but of course things have changed even further since then. I've been operating a business from home since 2005, so it's been very much part of my world, and it's stopped me in the past from thinking about, for example, taking on an apprentice, because I haven't got a physical space in which I can accommodate them. And I think perhaps more at the apprentice level than at the undergraduate level, I think actually working alongside someone in quite a close way is probably part of their learning experience as well as part of the way you operate your business. But it's the world's changed and we have to work with that. So Laura's question is very relevant to a lot of our membership for sure.
And when I have the answer, then I will get the slides updated so it's on there, so that when you share them with the community, we'll have that one captured.
Yeah.
And with the 4 week, sorry, I'm just with the 4 week thing, I'm just wondering, like, again, like someone like myself, and you obviously don't know my business or my plans, but have they worked with perhaps copywriters or anything like that? Is that the type of business they would work with? Is there any thoughts on what they could do? Or
So they would be open to putting out project briefs from any sector, any business for students to apply for. It is up to then the students to apply to work on the projects, but we don't have a criteria or a certain sector or even a certain challenge. We have such a range of challenges put forward. I also circulate the details of we have some examples on our website of projects that have gone before as well, so I can circulate the details of those. And we would help to promote them, but we couldn't guarantee that we'd be able to bring a full group together. But I don't think we have problems in sourcing students for innovation projects. Students are really keen to work with businesses as well.
Okay, brilliant, thank you.
So is it all project based? And I appreciate a project kind of makes a nice self-contained thing that it's easy to portray to a potential intern or
yeah, so for the student innovation projects, for the internships, because they tend to be shorter, they are project driven. So they have an idea of what they're applying for and whether that matches their area of expertise and interest as well. With the year in employment, because it's up to that kind of 10 months, it's a much longer involvement with the students. That's going to be much more around work experience, aligned with their studies and their interests, but longer term. But when you've just got the 4 weeks, it is very project driven.
Which I'd say is probably beneficial to the business as well as the students, because perhaps it is that piece of work or that investigation into something that you haven't had the capacity to do yourselves. So it's an option there to visit that and wrap it around as a project with that output that you would get at the end.
Yeah, the multidisciplinary aspect of some of the thinking that was presented earlier in Kerry's presentation was certainly something that could add a lot of value to a project. If it's a big enough project to need inputs from, I think you use geography students as an example, or economic students, then that benefits the students and it benefits the business.
So I did get that from our careers team. So that one, it was geography, business, engineering, and someone else, I think, and that is a real life example that's brought those kind of disciplines together. We really think there's a value in working across disciplines, and I see that in my role as well, when I'm working more with the research side of things, where actually we bring in the interdisciplinary skills. It opens up new avenues of conversation or new ideas or thoughts that maybe you hadn't considered, and or not traditionally seen as a benefit. So we're really proud of that program to be able to offer it across to everybody, and we wouldn't specify this can only go to engineering students. We make that opportunity available to all of them.
Yeah, it's a great strength. It also can cause challenges in promoting what you're doing, because people tend to resonate with something that rings a bell with a particular discipline or a particular area being mentioned. But yeah, it's certainly,
I think that's a really good point, Rob. But I think that's probably where Kerry and I and Heidi can come in as well. So kind of having those conversations with businesses. I think Kerry said earlier, doesn't have to be a fully formed project that you've got in mind, but a kind of an idea about what you'd want to investigate with us. And that's where we can come in and work with you, and then suggest people from other areas that wouldn't necessarily be obvious from outside of academia. Because we're very much aware that we're not always the first thought on people's minds if they're looking for business support. But as you've heard today, there's a whole range of things and more that we can do. And I think that's why, us being the kind of business engagement, industry relations, that side of things add a lot of value to helping sort of, I guess, kind of stretch the ambition of the projects.
and I think your point about stretching and bringing in new areas is an interesting one, because lots of business owners or managers will have in mind, at the back of their mind, something that they've always wanted to work on, but actually they're too busy doing all the frontline stuff, keeping the business running, moving it forward. That little nugget loitering in the background could make a really good project. So yeah,
And again, one of the things I think from external is people may be aware of some of the fantastic work we do from more of the sort of engineering side of things, but probably not so aware of what a business school can do.
Yeah.
So again, sometimes it's an option of are you sort of considering your business plan maybe sort of 3-5 years? Where's your route to diversification if it's needed? For example, we have experts in those areas that might be able to come on board, and then maybe students that can come out of that side of things. So it isn't just thinking about the traditional kind of the labs and that side of things. It's very much management science and social sciences as well that kind of underpin a lot of what we can do as well.
Yeah, and I think you portrayed that range of it in some of the slides that were shown there. So thank you for that. Okay, Laura, does that trigger any thinking on your part? And obviously it's subject to the answers that Kerry will come back with.
No, it's definitely given me something to think about. I think I'm in that point where I don't really know what help I need, but at the same time I feel like I need some help. So
and that's where examples can really help, isn't it? Oh right, they did that. Well, that's something that I could do.
Yeah.
Sort of telling the stories.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Bavara, any thoughts from your side on what we've looked at?
Yeah, lots of thoughts actually, and similarly to Laura being sole trader, and seeing how I can support somebody in that role with my work, because obviously it's a very personal connection that I'm having with that person. So whether I'm coaching them or whether I'm teaching them yoga or a combination of the two, or taking them through a mental fitness program, there is quite a lot of confidentiality within myself and my clients. So to have a student on board with me, although it would be amazing to have the help in adjusting one of my clients, and can certainly see myself being of assistance to mentor somebody, in that field, in the field of coaching, body work, mental health. It's finding an approach with my clients that would work, that they wouldn't mind, perhaps just one session every so many sessions, that they would possibly be okay with, because it would be a huge thing. I think it would benefit massively to somebody exploring that area of work. I'd love to be able to offer my assistance, I really would, but it's just getting past that barrier of how I suppose if you went to see a GP and you've got you've got an assistant in there with you, it's I suppose a similar type of thing, isn't it? And you have to agree that you're okay with that person being in the same room with you, and trust that that's going to be kept as a confidential thing. Can certainly see some online mentoring service that I could offer them and they could get from me. Could see that. So yeah, it's brought up lots of things. I think it's an amazing thing that you offer. I think it's fabulous. I had no idea really. It's really opened up my eyes, to the possibilities for students and businesses. I mean, it's just incredible that is available, that's on your doorstep, that you can have that.
And it may be that it's a project that's not directly working with your clients. It might be more of a behind the scenes, helping your business in the background, kind of that back office function, or assessing a market, or doing some digital marketing for you. It may not be as hands-on as you're thinking. It might be something that would personally benefit your business. So I did put a link in that it could be both, but and we could explore how we handle the confidentiality. That's something I do more of when I'm talking, again, with my collaborative research hat on. When we're talking to our academics, we handle confidentiality all the time, and so universities are used to talking about that. But like I said, it could be something that is less hands-on, that might be a benefit for you. So
I can think of a million things on my desk that I loathe, because I prefer being, actually actively being with my client and helping that way. So yeah, absolutely.
I did put the link to the student innovation projects, the first example, that short 4-week no charge to the business, in the chat. and at the bottom of that page there is a couple of examples there, but if you were interested, our careers team would be more than happy to talk it through with you, and you don't have to take it forward if it's not for you at the end of the day. So.
Lovely, thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Vihara. I think our audience can be described as small but highly engaged today. So that's
Yeah,
it's great news.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much.
It's a shame. I think it would be good to get this out to a lot of people. I'm already thinking of new businesses. I'm like, oh, I need to let them know that this is.
That's
Yeah.
the next best thing, Laura, I think.
And that's something you will find with this kind of group, is that you'll have people coming to it who have lots of other clients, and you know, my own mind too is racing which of my clients might be able to get something out of this. So
And I think key to that, with the potentially the sort of community that we're talking to, and the collaborations, most of the collaborations have been put forward today, is that they are very cost effective, and you know, they start brokering that sort of relationship and trust to an area that businesses may never seen before. If they had a thought about it, that, you know, they'd perhaps put off by the cost, or the cost of getting that help from an external source, a consultant or a service provider, something like that. Whereas actually, you know, these are quite sort of cost-effective options to perhaps cover those pieces of work that you've not had the chance to do.
and we have, as you found out, we have some internal pots of funding that are managed internally as well that help us in doing this, both on the internships, so that the longer project, but also in Heidi's team around maybe doing those workshops and secondments and things like that we can
do. And we also supply funding to our to another internal team, public policy, that again helps. It's the graduates, the postgrad secondments or internships out to small businesses as well. So we have different stages of secondments that we can do and fund.
Okay, always makes people's ears prick up when they hear the possibility of funding. So thank you for that. Okay, if there are no further questions or comments, I think we've got a lot to go away and think about how we can promote to our respective circles here. I'm sure Justine will be watching this with great interest as well. So she and I'll have a conversation. We'll talk with other directors about how we can get the story out more widely. But you know, you came to us originally talking about knowledge transfer partnerships, and you know, whilst that was interesting, we also discovered in the course of that there were these other services that you could talk about. So thank you very much for coming along today to talk about those, because I think there's plenty in there for businesses to think about making use of. So thank you very much.
Thank
University of
you.
Southampton team.
I've also dropped in the chat the email address for Justin and my team, so the business engagement team, business at Sutton. The careers and employability team is just employ at Sutton, but if you wanted me to follow up on any of the information on the student side, I can make an introduction to that team for you. So
Great.
reach out.
Thank you very much, Kerry.